Okay, so hi Samyak. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, so okay, where we left off the previous lesson, which was quite long ago, was we talked about variables, right? And so let's just go through a quick recap of the variables, and then today we'll be talking about building a website, and we'll also be talking about conditionals, which is the second lesson. So today we also get to see application of our knowledge being applied to creating a website lah. So that's something that is more that you might find more nicer to have as a result. Okay, so let's just run through the slides briefly. So we talked about Python, and so last week we talked about variables, and we said that variables are containers of information, and they are like, think of them as like a cardboard box that you can put information inside, different types of information as well, and then you can retrieve them by calling the variable name. So we showed that the variables can change in value, right? What they store can change. And when you cannot write expression like x plus 1 equals to 3 because the left-hand side must only be a variable. Then we learned that with numbers, if our variable is an integer, then we can do arithmetic with it. And we went through some exercises, and we also note that variable names, they must be one word. So they're case sensitive as well. So yeah. Then we went through what it means to write code on the left, right? So if you write code on the left, then Python will execute it sequentially from line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4. And today we'll be seeing, so right now Python execute every single line that we write. But today we will actually be going through conditionals where Python might skip over some lines, and that way we can redirect the program flow, using conditionals. Okay, then we talked about comments. So comments are lines that have the hashtag in front of it, and they're not executed. So for example, over here we set x equals to 1, but because it's commented out, you see that from line 4 to line 7, the value of x did not change. It went from 5 to 5. So yeah, then we went through some exercises. We learned that we can have different, the code might not look exactly the same, but the behavior can be the same. So these are called different implementations. Then we went through variable types, right? We learned that there are a few variable types, namely there's numbers and there's strings. Strings are words, and when you define a string, you use the quotes. So then we talked about strings in greater detail. You can define them using single or double quotes. And we learned how to add strings together, which basically means you concatenate, you put one after another. So this is an example, cat says plus meow, you get cat says meow. So yeah, then we also learn about repeating strings. What happens when you multiply them? Multiply a number with a string, you repeat it. And we learn how to, we learn what formatted strings are, where you can display the value of a variable inside a string. So this is useful because then you don't have to concatenate strings all the time. You can just use, it's easier to read and easier to write also. So for example, the age here is an integer variable, but then we can put it into a string by using the formatted string like that. The F is important. So then we went through some exercises where you practice with concatenating strings. And then we talked about type conversion. So we talked about two types of variables, right? Numbers and words. And now we learn how to convert between them. So for example, if we want to say high five, but let's say the Y variable is a number, then you cannot add them together because if you try this code, then you'll say you cannot add a string with an integer. So to succeed, you need to put for it to succeed, you need to put str, which converts the Y into a string type. And likewise, you can, if you have a 6 as a string, then if you want to convert it into a number, you use int, or you can use float for decimal. Float is for decimals. Okay, then we learn how, besides just variable storing information, we learned that you can also use variables to store user input. And in fact, that's kind of more the value added instead of just writing in the code. So you can assign your variables to whatever values the user inputs. So for example, you can interact with the user by using the input command, and then followed using the round brackets. And then inside the round brackets, you put the prompt that you want to ask. Then we learned that if you want to take in user input as a number, then because the input function, we'll talk about functions next time, but because the input, it returns a string. So if you want to convert, if you want to store the user's input as an integer, then you need to put an int in front to convert the string into a number. So for example, you do multiplication like that, you enter 2, then you get 4. Whereas if you didn't have the int over here, then what you'll see is you actually see 2, 2. We are 22, which is kind of wrong. Yeah. So likewise for numbers, for decimals, you use float instead of int. And yeah, so using the knowledge we had so far, we could actually start to build simple calculators already. For example, this code calculates the year that you're born in, right? You understand this code over here? Okay. Then um, we also went through two exercises where one we built a calculator that adds two numbers, and another one was we built a BMI calculator. So this was a calculator solution. Yeah, if you have any questions at any point in time, just feel free to unmute also. Then this is a calculator solution where we have two variables, number and number two, and then both of them are inputs from the user. And then we create a new variable called answer equals to number plus number two. And finally we say your answer is this. Oh yeah, you have a question?
I was wondering, right, could we also do like just now the F
Yeah,
with the apostrophe?
yeah,
Then
definitely.
okay, I see. Okay.
Yeah, you
So
can
how would
say,
that look like? That would be like the curly bracket
yeah,
answer.
that's right. So what that
Okay.
will look like is so for example, that will look like, so I'll just replace line 27. Okay,
Okay.
so that will look like animal. So let's say animal equals to cat, right? Then that will look like, oh, no, sorry. Answer equals to, let's say 5. That will look like print f answer. Your answer is, so that will look like that. Yeah. So in comparison with, instead of yeah, both of them are the same. Both of them work. They both produce the same result. Yeah, both of them say the same thing.
How come we don't have to do the for the second line, right?
Mm-hmm.
How come we don't have to convert the answer to string?
We are in fact converting the answer to string. So the answer
Okay.
is a
By
number.
putting it in the curly bracket.
Oh, you mean for line 2, for line 2.
Yeah.
By putting a curly brackets, it automatically turns it into a string. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, I see. Sure. Thank
So the
you.
benefit is that you don't have to keep on writing plus. If you have many variables, right, then you don't need to keep on writing plus. Yeah. So yep, that's a good question. Okay, then then the next exercise was a BMI calculator, where it's basically similar to the previous example. Okay, so today we'll be starting off with some web development. So we'll apply the knowledge of variables we have to create a website. Okay. Okay, so yeah, over here, so today we'll be building a counter app where we can, those kind of people in the mall, right, where when you walk in, then they press this button to increase the number. Yeah, so we'll be building that on a website today. So yeah, so okay, I'll be showing a bunch of slides, and it'll be animated also, so you can just follow along the instructions. Yeah, so you can head over to the website anvil.works, and yeah, just tell me when just nod your head when you're there. Okay, so then you can click on the
Wait, can I
button.
just ask, does Zoom work in split screen?
I don't think so. So I think what you
Okay.
can do is you can possibly like manually resize it to half the screen.
Okay,
But
yeah,
then
that makes sense.
it might be a bit small. So maybe you can do the like command tab, command tab to switch the tab quickly.
Okay, got it.
Mm,
Thank you.
no problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so you click the button at the top right saying start building. Okay, then you can sign in with Google, or you can sign up if you want. Okay, great. So now, do you see something like that? After login, then you just click on new blank app. And then now you see material design, you see select material design. Yeah. The rest, these are just templates for us. So if you want to do something more complex, you can choose the other templates. So now you see something like that, right? A dashboard. Okay, so so let me just explain a bit. On the left, we have a app it's called an app browser, but we won't really be touching that lah. That's for if you want to create more pages for your website. So if you click on the app browser button, you'll actually hide it lah. So yeah, then on the middle here, in the middle here, we have the website template. So you can drag and drop components from the right hand side. You see the toolbox over here. It says add new component. So you can drag and drop items from here into the form, right? And then yeah, then it will be there. So okay, so for first step, let's go rename the project. You can click on the material design one beside your run button and rename it to, let's say, counter app. Okay, done. Okay, then the next step is to add a title. So you want to drag and drop the third item from the toolbox to over here. Yeah, so into the drop title here area. Okay, then so now you see after you drag and drop, now this new thing properties popped up, and then you want to go to the content of the properties. So under properties there's content, and you can write anything you want there. So in this case, I wrote my beautiful counter app. Okay, then after that you see that the title has changed already, right? So yeah, you can name it anything you want, and it appear on the website accordingly. Then the next step is to add a link to your so you want to drag and drop the fourth item from the toolbox over to the area where they say drop links here. Okay, yeah, and then now you see it says link underscore one. So if you see the property side, now under properties there's a URL area. So you can type like your social media website there or your profile page. Yeah. So this link isn't exactly part of the counter app, but it's just to tell you that you can drag and drop links there so that next time if you want to put links on your website, you can easily do it. Okay. So if you have besides putting the URL, you can also, so after setting the URL, you can scroll down to the text section from the properties, and you can change the text to anything you want also. So just change it to like my Instagram or something like that. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so after that, so now you can click run, then you can see that it takes a while to load, but after that, it pops up with a website looking like that with your title accordingly, and if you click on the link, right, then you should see that it brings you to your profile, to whatever link you put. Are you seeing that? Okay, great. So yeah, so you can build.
I didn't put any link on the thing, so it didn't bring me anywhere lah. But
Oh,
I
okay,
think yeah.
sure. Can. Yeah. Okay, so now let's go back to, now you can click stop, right? If you click stop, then it brings you back to to the the template builder. Okay, so now let's work on building the counter app. So you can drag and drop your so let's drag and drop the second tool in the toolbox, right, over to this area. Okay, and when you release it, then you see that a label has popped up, right? So this is called a label. So right, yeah, are you seeing that? Okay, great. Then now let's go over to the name section. Under properties, right, you see the name. You click on the edit icon and change it to label underscore display. Okay, so now it says label underscore display. And yeah, so then after that, if you go down to the text part of the properties, then you can change the text part of the properties to value : 0. Okay, then now you can add a button. So after that, so after now the label is there already, you can expand the add new component tab under the toolbox and drag and drop the fifth item, which is the button. It looks like the A with the blue solid background over here. Drag and drop it over to below your display counter. below your label display. Yeah. Then now you see it says button one. So you can change the name. So you change the name from button underscore one to button underscore increase.
Sorry, give me a second. I feel like the button is not going to the place I want it to go.
Oh, it's not going to what?
It keeps going to the blue part instead of below value.
Okay, it's not going to the blue.
Like the welcome to my counter app, like the my beautiful counter app place.
Oh, maybe you want to drag it a bit below the. What I'm trying to say is that like when you drag and drop it, is it you're seeing that it doesn't the blue line doesn't appear like doesn't
Yeah,
appear.
it doesn't. Yeah.
Okay, if you bring it further down, does it like bring it to like somewhere in the middle of the screen?
No.
Doesn't so it keeps on appearing below your it appears above the value colon 0, is it?
Yeah. Uh, Under the my beautiful counter app, like in that area.
Okay, okay, understand what went wrong. So maybe you want to drag and drop your value colon 0 to, because I think what happened right now was that when you see when I added a display, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I added the display, it showed a blue line like that. So I think just now you accidentally put it on the bottom instead. So you want to drag and drop the value colon 0 to the top part. Like it's at the top, but like it's attached to the it's anchored to the bottom.
Okay, let me try again.
Sure, sure. If not, you can share your screen and I can help.
Wait, so can you show that again where I'm supposed to do the value colon 01?
Okay, sure, sure. So that one is at the text area over. That one is at
Okay,
the text area
then
over here under properties.
okay, let me share screen and show you.
Sure, sure. Okay, let me stop share and enable screen share.
Okay, can
Okay.
you see?
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Okay, so
so
when
I
you drag and
use
drop the
this. Wait,
mhm.
okay, this is already here, right? So
Yeah, that's already there.
I'm going to delete this and show you how I did. Okay,
Okay, thank
so
you.
like this.
Uh-huh.
Then I
Mm.
take the button and the blue line isn't coming.
Oh, okay. Okay, what if you delete the display, delete the label at the moment? The
Okay.
label, let's remove the label. Then wait, the column panel, are you able to remove the column panel? If you click on it, uh, you cannot, is it?
Nope.
Okay, how about you drag and drop the display, but is it, are you able to not put in the column panel, like the label, the second one,
What do you mean?
the second item in the toolbox, right? Are you able
Yeah,
to
this
drag
one.
and drop it, but not in the column panel?
But like below it?
Yeah, below it.
No.
If you release it, what happens if you release? Oh, okay, that's not good.
Okay, how about I restart? Like I
Uh,
covered the new one.
uh, okay, okay. How about are you able to let me control your mouse? I can try to.
Can
Uh,
man?
I think can. Yeah.
How?
So view options, request remote control.
Oh, okay, can.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's quite cool, right?
Yeah, okay. This is how I lose my laptop.
Wait, why you click
Wait,
deny?
wait.
You click
Oh
deny.
shit, sorry.
It's
I have
fine.
to okay, try again.
I click request remote control. They might tell you to restart Zoom. Then in that case, then never mind. You need to click the lock to make changes. I suspect they'll tell you to
Yeah,
restart
because
Zoom.
I eh, okay.
Oh, they never.
Seems
Okay,
to have worked.
that's great then. Then it's
Okay.
good.
Can
Okay.
now?
Uh,
Okay. Wow.
your mouse moving?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, if I do that, and let's say that's a bit strange. Hmm. I think what happened was they say drop a column panel here. So we should
Mm-hmm.
try to find a column panel to drop there. Is it the column panel? Data grid, heating panel, flow panel, column
Oh, yeah.
panel. Ah, okay.
Ah,
So if I do that, okay, that's your label. And that's,
ah, okay,
great,
great.
great. Sure. So I think for some reason, maybe it accidentally got deleted or something. Yeah,
Okay,
so now you can go ahead and rename so label one, you can change the name first, under the properties name. Yeah,
what do
the
you name it again?
label underscore display.
Label underscore display. Then the content is 0, right? Count
Yeah,
equals.
the text. So label underscore display. Yep. And then the text is value colon 0.
Okay. You
Okay,
can go back to sharing your screen, I guess. I'll stop sharing.
sure, sure. Okay, then from there, yeah, for the button, you can drag and drop the fifth item over, and rename the button from button 1 to button increase.
Wait, can you repeat from the fifth thing that you
Yeah,
said about dragging the fifth thing?
sure. So the fifth thing over here,
Mm-hmm.
under the toolbox, you drag it over to below the
Okay.
button 1, which I think we
Yeah.
did already. Then you
Mm-hmm.
rename the button from button underscore 1 to button underscore increase.
Okay.
Great. So then after that, you can change the text in your button to increase counter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Done.
so now yeah, so now actually we're finished like designing the user design, the design that you see the website. So but right now, if you press run and you try to press that button, right, nothing will happen because we need to write code to tell tell Python uh to do something with our actions. So go ahead over to the code section beside the design panel, and you see there's some code here. Okay,
Yeah.
so okay, this is code that is executed when you run your form. So go back to the design panel and single click on the increase counter. So on the button. So if you click on the button, then it opens up the properties panel again, and scroll all the way down to the events. Then under events, you see there's a click, right? So press the blue button beside the click. Right now it's a blank thing. If you press the blue
Ah,
button,
okay.
then what's happened is that by pressing the blue button, you have told Anvil to create a event handler. So now they added this small bit of code, right? This you write code inside here to handle what happens when the button is clicked. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So this is code that now we now we can go to the code section and just insert 3 lines, right? One at line 11 after one after line 10 and 2 lines of code at line 15 and 16. Yeah, you can delete the pass. So just try to like replicate what you see here. I'll explain what the code does later.
Okay, done.
Okay, great. Then now if you click run, and then you see the website pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so now if you click increase counter button, do you see
Ah,
the,
yes, it works.
yeah, it works, right? Okay, great.
Yes.
So yeah, so actually now it works, right? And we can actually go ahead and publish our application. So let's say right now it's just running for you to see, but if you want your friends to see it, you can go click on the top right section saying publish
Mm-hmm.
this app, and then it'll give you two options. One is share via a private link, or one is a public link. So you can go ahead and choose the public link, and then you can name it whatever domain you want. I mean, whatever name you want. So in this case, I called it TCH counter app dash public. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to tell me what the link is? Then I show you that I can access it also.
Okay. Let me just copy the link and send it to you.
Sure, sure. Let's send it in the Zoom chat. Great. Okay, so this is SJ public Anvil app. And now you see that I see your website over here. And when I
Mm-hmm.
click on it, then you see that the value has increased.
Ah,
And when I refresh the app, then it starts back from 0. So now if
great.
you create an app, right, then you create an app using Anvil, you can easily share it with your friends. Then that's kind of cool. Yeah. So, so yeah, okay, so let me just explain the code briefly, right? It's okay if everything here is a bit confusing because there's concepts that we haven't covered yet. But
Okay.
at line 11, we created a variable and set it to equal to 0. So the variable is called self.counter. Yeah, the self is actually something for another, it's called object-oriented programming. But for now, just take the entire self.counter as a single variable. So then now at line 15 and line 16 is only executed when the button is pressed. So line 11 is executed when your form starts up, but line 15 and 16 is only executed when your button is pressed. So at line 15, we have the variable self.counter equals to itself plus 1. So if you can remember what we learned from variables, that just increments the value of the counter variable by 1. Then after incrementing by 1, the line 16 is kind of like a print, just that instead of printing it to your console, instead of printing it on the black screen, you see you're updating the text. So yeah, label underscore display dot text is another variable in a sense that is attached to the website label. So whatever you set it to, you'll see appear on the website. So yeah, this is quite a simple application. Yeah, Ken?
Okay, I understand.
Okay.
So if for example, like, I think your line 15, right,
Yeah.
is like self counter equals self counter plus one. So if I
Mhm.
change it to like self counter plus two, then
Mm-mm.
every time someone clicks it, it'll increase by
That's right. That's
two.
right. Yeah,
Okay.
correct. Exactly. That's very good. Yeah. Okay. So I also have slides for BMI calculator, but I think the stats are more or less the same lah. So maybe I can release a video and then you can watch it. So yeah. So let's
Sure.
talk a bit about conditionals today. Yeah. So now let's move on to the Python part of it. So we went through the website, and then now let's talk about Python. So conditionals briefly is adding logic to your program. So what I mean by logic, right? So far we learned that the code executes sequentially, every single line gets executed. But if with conditionals, not every line might be executed necessarily. So for example, okay, let me just go through the Python replit. Okay, so let's start with a blank code over here. And let's say I ask the user for their input. Okay, so we're going to write this code in the replit. So let's create a variable called animal, and we assign it to equals to whatever the user input. So I say, what is your favorite animal? Question mark. Okay, and then let's print animal first. So we build the program from ground up, from small steps. So they say, what is your favorite animal? I type cat. When I press enter, then it executes line 2, right? Finish executing line 1, execute line 2. It says prints whatever I typed in. Okay, also okay so far?
Yeah. Can you give me a second? I want to copy, like, do it myself, like, write it down.
Oh, sure, can. Um, uh, yeah, okay, sure. You can, yeah, can.
If you're in a hurry, I can like do it at my own time after
No
this.
problem, no
We
problem.
can.
Yeah, I think it's good that you want to write it out also. Yeah. Then you can tell me any errors that appear and I can immediately help you with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So
Maybe,
now I'll run it and see.
yeah. Then when you type
Okay.
something, then you can see, maybe how about you press the invite button and you send me send me, you press the invite and you click generate new link and you can
Okay.
send me that one so that I can also spy on you when you write the code.
Always been a voyeur. Okay. Here's the link.
Okay, great. Okay, yeah. So let's put that. Okay, so let's say instead of writing just printing animal, right? Let's just say I want to say I also like, so I print a formatted string and I
Mm.
say I also like that animal, right? Exclamation mark. So if I press run, then now instead when I type cat, press enter, it just says I also like whatever the user input. Okay. Yeah, so you can go ahead and try that. You're
Okay.
missing the closing bracket.
Ah. Okay. Got
Yeah, it's good that you try hands-on also so that it is a different experience when typing it. Yeah, okay, so now I see
Okay.
it says I also like dog. You have a
It sounds
spacing.
like it sounds like they want to eat the dog, but okay.
You can put here if, yeah. Okay, so right now you also have a spacing before I. So if that's why there's a
Okay.
little spacing. So in the string, right, your spacing will appear quite, it'll be there lah. Yeah.
Wait, where's the spacing before I?
Oh, I deleted it for you. Maybe I should.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, so
Thank
now if
you.
you press run, then you type dog, and it says I also like dog without the spacing. Okay. Yeah, can.
Yep. Got it.
Yeah,
Thank
great.
you.
Okay, so now let's write a conditional. So by writing our first conditional, yeah. So how do we start? We start with writing the keyword if, then we use the round brackets, and then inside the round brackets we put the condition that we want to check. So in this case, let's check if the animal is equals to a cat. So I
Mm.
write that if the animal is equals, and I write a double equal sign because the single equal sign in Python is reserved for assigning new values to variables. So I must write the double equal sign for a conditional, and I can write a string cat over here. Then after that, so I've written my conditional. Now after the round bracket closes, I type a colon and I press enter. So when I press enter, you see that by the for some the IDE the Python has automatically created a space for me.
Mm.
So this is called indentation. So now
Okay.
whatever code I write over here, let's say I write print meow, right? And whatever other codes I write here, lines from lines 5 to 8, right? All these codes have the spacing. All these codes have the spacing. So they're all inside this if statement. So
Okay.
they're all indented. That's what we say. Yeah. So if the condition is true, then lines 5 to 8 will be executed. Yeah.
Okay. Can I ask a
And
question?
sure. Yeah.
So if, for example, everything below is part of if that conditionality condition is
Mm-hmm.
true, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
if I write like print meow, print meow, print meow, then it'll like print meow three times
Yeah,
in like
exactly.
everything
So
below. Okay.
correct. So if I do like that, right? Or let's say to make it more clear, I write meow 1, meow 2, meow 3, right? And then okay, then the code that is not indented, right? So from line 8 onwards, if I say print outside if statement, then line 8, right, is outside the if statement because it doesn't have the indentation, which means that
Okay.
um it will be it's just part of the entire program flow. It's not inside the if statement. So what happens if I press run now? You see that if I type doc, right, it says I also like doc, and it says outside if statement, which means that lines 2 and lines 9 was executed.
Ah, okay.
But you see that it didn't execute line 5 to 7 because the line 5 to 7 is inside the if statement, and the if statement only executes, the code inside the if statement only executes if the condition is true. Okay?
Okay, let me try this.
Sure, sure. Yeah, that's right. So you
Wait,
saw
why
that.
did it? Okay,
Oh,
but
because
if the condition is true. Okay, okay, I see.
because I type dog and you type cat. Yeah. So if I type cat, right, then what happens in line 4 is that line 4 will check if the condition is true. In this case, cat equals to cat, right? And that's why it prints, it executes the code that's inside the if statement, which is print meow1, meow2, meow3. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thank
now
you.
we can see that lines 5 to 7 only executed if the condition is true. So we have kind of controlled the logic of the program already. Yeah. So from here, yeah, okay, so let's talk about what if I want to execute stuff if the condition is not true. So like, if I want to do that, I can, after the if statement, right, I delete the indentation and I can write else. Then I write colon and I press enter again. You can see that the similar behavior is similar indentation appeared. And then I can write,
Okay.
let's write not meow. And then if I press run, so if I type cat, you see that there's also, I also like cat from line 2. Then there's meow1, meow2, meow3 from lines 5, 6, 7. And then the line 9 is not executed, right? Because the condition held true. And the line, that whatever is inside the else is ignored since the condition is true. Then line 11 is executed because it's outside the entire if else block already. Then if, so that's for the, if I type cat, if I type dog or some any other gibberish, then you see that the condition is not true. So lines 5 to 7 was ignored, and instead line 9 was executed because line 9 is inside the else statement. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So if the condition, the structure is if the condition, do something, otherwise do something else. Yeah. So that's the if else statement. Okay, so let's say,
Okay.
okay, let's clean this. Yeah, so you can go ahead and write it out yourself.
Yeah, I'll rerun it. So
Okay,
if
okay,
I
cool.
run with
Sure, sure.
cat, then it's
Uh-huh.
like, yeah.
Yep, can? Is that okay? Okay, that's good. So, okay, let's clean it out a little bit so it's less confusing. So, okay, so okay, so let's say I want to check if let's say if it's cat, right, I want to print meow, and let's say if it's dog, I want to print wolf. So how do I do that? Um, one way is to put it, one way is to write another if statement. So if animal equals to dog, then do something. Um, okay, but another way is to put it inside this else block. So if animal equal to dog,
Mm,
then colon, and I press enter, and now you see the double the spacing, right? So it's a it's a doubly indented code. So if I do this, so right now, if I press run, then if I type cat, it executes meow, and it executes line 5, and the rest of them is ignored because it's inside the else. Then if I run dog, if I type dog, then the first condition at line 4 is false, so it doesn't execute line 5, it ignores it. Then it goes into the else block, so it executes line 7 to 10. Then line 7 to 10 is another if statement. It checks if dog is equal to dog. In this case, that's true, that's why it prints wolf. Then it ignores the else by because that's not, because the dog equals to dog was true. Then lastly, as prints n, because the n is outside of the whole thing. So yeah. Okay, so that's for if you want to, like, you can chain. So you see that this is the if else statement inside the if else statement, right? And in fact, you can chain it as much as you want. Yeah. But if you want to do something like that, it's easier to use a command called airlift. So Python simplify it down for us. So instead of writing else colon and the next line if something, you can just write airlift. So it's a short form lah. So in this case, I've code that checks if it's equals to cat, and check next thing it checks if it's equal to dog, next thing it checks if it's equal to turtle. So that will look like this. So let's say I check if it's equal to dog, then print wolf airlift the animal equals to turtle, and the print bird. And lastly, else, if all the above conditions fail, then it prints by. So if I go ahead and run it now, if I type cat, I see meow. If I type dog, I see wolf. If I type turtle, I see bird. And if I type anything else, right, I see by. Okay, and yeah, so this is
Okay.
training multiple else statement, multiple if else statement. Yeah, so you can go ahead
Yeah.
and give it
You
a
know,
try.
for this one, right? There's
Mhm.
okay, let me read the error and try to see if I can
Oh, I'm
solve.
seeing the thing right now. Yeah.
If animal
There's a the reason it's not indenting for you.
yeah. Okay.
Um, it's actually because you missed the colon. You missed the colon in front of it.
Okay, okay, I see.
Yeah. So if they didn't indent for you, that means yeah, they only read the colon, right? Then yeah, then you see now it automatically indents for you.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Let me try running this.
Sure.
Okay. Now let me try the elif,
Sure.
the
Sure.
elif.
That's great. Yeah.
Can I wait, okay. So if I do so then I just do elif like this, right?
Yep. That's right. Then you can put the second condition to check. Mm-hmm.
Wait. Is it else like
Yeah,
this?
that's right. Correct. Yeah. You learn pretty fast. Yeah, you're not referring, is it, to anything?
Yeah, I'm
But
just trying to remember it.
that's great. That's great. Yeah. So with more
Okay,
practice, you also get more familiar with it, lah. Yeah. Okay.
great.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Great. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So yeah. So that's if else and if elif else. So you can train as many elif as you want. But one important thing to note is that it always for the elif, right, if you train multiple of them, it always check the first one, then the second one, then the third one, and so on. So it's sequential. And right now you might be thinking, it's not really that important, right? Because if one of them is true, then the rest are definitely not. No, but that's a false assumption because in some cases your conditionals can overlap. So yeah. And
Mm.
hmm,
So it always takes the last one, right? So for
um
example, if I
mhm,
have like so if I have two elifs, right, and both of them are for total, so the first one says brew, then the second one says wolf. Then
hmm.
will it print wolf or will it print bird? Or will it
uh
print both?
it'll only print it'll only print
Oh,
the
the
first
first
one,
one. Okay.
yeah, because the rest are else if. So
Okay.
yeah, understand? Yeah.
So it just stops checking after that level now because it's
Mm,
already like okay,
correct.
okay,
Yeah, yeah. It's basically a short form for else if lah. So if one of them was true, then it wouldn't execute the rest of the else's.
got
Okay,
it.
great, great. Okay, so another example of using if elif else is if you want to work with like number input. So instead of checking whether the string is equals to cat, right, you can also check if it's the number you input is less than 1. So this is for numbers. Yeah. So okay lah, this is pretty similar to the previous logic. So I think there's no need to type it out. You can type it on your own free time if you want. Okay. Yeah. So now what happens if you want to check multiple conditions? One way is to put an if statement inside if statement. So you realize that after you asking for the user for their input, the you good, right? It will only be executed if both of these conditions are true. Make sense?
Mm.
And you can if you want to, you can try it out. But a better way to do it is to use the and keyword. So instead of writing because you want to check too many conditions, then your code goes to the right very far. So to reduce the number of indentations we need to make, we can just use the and to check if both the conditions are true. Okay. So yeah, so the and is only, so now it only print you good if both conditions are true. Yeah, makes sense?
Yeah, let me try this.
Sure, sure. You want the slides as reference?
Okay, let me try without the slides, and if I cannot, I'll
Okay,
come back.
sure, sure.
Enter number between.
Um, I think there's some unintended behavior over here, and the reason is because you put okay. So in my slides, I put if number is greater than equals to 1, and
Ah,
number is less than equals to 10. But right now you're checking if number is less than equals to 1 and greater than equals to 10, and you realize that both of them will never be true at the same time. So whatever you
oh
type,
yeah, okay, okay.
yeah, correct.
Yeah, you're
Don't
right.
worry, yeah, it's just it's small stuff like that, lah. Yeah.
Okay.
You need to.
Oh, and right. Oh, wait, what happened here?
I think you accidentally deleted it. Yeah.
And number,
Yeah, that's right.
if number equals print. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And you want to try for a number between 1 and 10? Yeah. Okay.
Wait, you know,
So,
for this one, right? Because the first number um makes an integer. So if I type like 5.1,
can try.
what will happen? Ah, okay.
So you see now it says that it failed to convert a 5.1 into an integer. Yeah. So if you want, you can change this integer to a float. You can change your
Mm-hmm.
line 1 into a float and it will work. Yeah. And if you try typing like meow or cat, right, then it also throw an error. Yeah.
Ah,
So
okay,
you can give it a try if you want. Make sense?
okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so there's more conditionals you can do. You can do more than more than or like less than equals to, so all the math ones lah. And then just note that double for equal to, you need to use the double equal sign because the single equal sign is reserved for assigning new values, and the not equals to is exclamation mark. So that's just Python lah. Yeah.
Can I try the not equals true? I'm wondering how that works.
Sure, sure. So you can go ahead and yeah, give it a try. So if it's a bit confusing, you can delete other condition. Yeah, because you just check.
if number not equal to else. Okay.
Makes sense. And if you type
Yeah.
any other number, then it will say 10 because it's not equals to 1. Yeah, makes
Oh,
sense.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
it's like swapping the if and the else are kind of. But in some cases, you realize that it's more convenient to just check if it's not equals to than putting nothing in the if and then something in the else. Yeah.
Mhm.
And lastly, this is called these three tables over here are called truth tables. So if A and B are true and true, then A and B are true. Then you can also use the or keyword, which the entire A or B will be true if either one of them is true. You can check the table. This is the truth table lah. So for example, false or false, it gives you false, but false or true gives you true. Okay, and lastly, you can use the not keyword, which inverts it also. So these variable types are called booleans. So yeah, they are type of variables. Conditionals are a type of variables called booleans. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So let's try an exercise. If you take a look at this code over here, you can take some time to try to guess what the output is.
Okay. So A times B, which equals 6. So if 6 is more than 5, and if A is more than 2, but A is more, if A is true, so it is not less than true. So then it'll go to 11. No, it'll go to else, is it? Or will it go to 11?
It will
Oh,
go
else,
to
11.
yeah. The else is
11.
optional. The else is if it's not there, then it still works. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, then I'll go to 11, which is if B is more than or equal to 3, which it is. So then I'll print B.
That's right. Then you continue the program execution.
Wait, I'm a bit confused. So if
Mm.
elif happens, so if A minus B is independent of the elif, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
This is related to the first, no, not the first, the absolute first, the if A times B is more than
Correct.
5.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, which is true. Then so print B. Then after that, if A minus B is less than 0, so A minus B is -1. So I'll print C.
That's right. Yeah. And would it print D?
No.
Yeah, correct. So yeah, absolutely correct. It prints B and C. So let me show you how we can think about this more how to analyze these kind of things lah. So it executes line by line. So the first if statement ahead is here. Is this true? So 6 is greater than 5 is true. So it executes this entire code. So you can think of it as just
Okay.
executing this entire block of code. Yeah, and ignores this thing. So it will never execute the else part. Then so it executes this entire code. It do 2 less than 2 as false. So it doesn't execute this one. So it checks the next condition. So it checks the airlift. Is 3 greater than equals to 3? In fact, that is true. So it prints B. So that's why we see B appear. Okay. Then
Okay.
we did this part. So this was like one logic block. And then after
Yeah.
that, you see that because yeah, so just think of it as executing every line of code, but sometimes it might omit certain lines. So the if over here, because it's not part of like this block, right? It's not inside it. You can see very clearly from the indentation also that it's not inside it. So this does in fact execute. I mean this if statement is checked, and so it'll be 2 minus 3 is less than 0, which is true. So it prints C. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So the way to think about it is not like I think it's instead of thinking like, oh, I have a if here and I have a if here, so both of these conditions need to be true in order for this to happen. It's easier to think of it procedurally because that's how the program executed as well. The program will look through line by line and do certain things based on it. Yeah. It doesn't really
Okay.
look on it from an overview kind of thing. Yeah. So that's how to analyze it. So but yeah, good job. Okay, so right now let's try some exercise. So maybe yeah, so the first exercise you can ask the user for his or her age, and if they are above 18, then you print enjoy the M18 movie, otherwise print sorry you're underage. Okay, so
Okay.
actually I do have a guided I did prepare a guided um like guided tutorial. If you want to join my um yeah, so let me add you to my team thing. So
Actually, can I try doing it without the
sure.
guided?
That's great. Good. Can try as well. Yeah. Sure. So that's very good.
Wait, this one, I'll make it an integer.
That's right. Yep.
If age more than 18. Wait, if age more than or equal to 18.
Mm-hmm. Okay, something is fishy because you didn't get an indentation automatically,
Yeah,
and it's because
wait,
mm-hmm.
why?
Because the if is not supposed to be capital I.
Ah, okay, lmao.
Yeah, yeah. Unlike English, you don't need to capitalize the start of every
The first,
sentence.
okay. If age, then print.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good. Yeah. Okay. So you can click and give it a try. Mm-hmm. Yep. And if you try a age that is lower than 18, then yeah,
Mm.
very good. Okay. So now that I've completed that, maybe but if let's say instead of asking the person for their age, right, ask them for their year of birth. So
Okay.
yeah, so you need to do a bit of calculation after that.
Does this work? Let me try. Ah,
And if you try a later year, then you see that in fact. Yep, can.
yep.
Okay, great. So yeah, we see that we can build the yeah, so here are the solutions, which is exactly as you wrote, and the Q1 plus solution, which is the same thing as yours. Yeah. Okay, so okay, do you have time or
Yeah, I do.
okay, sure. Do you want to work on oh okay, actually this one was from the BMI calculator Anvil. Okay, then never mind. Basically the other exercise was you can build a BMI calculator. Now using conditionals, you can build a BMI calculator, and then if the BMI is within a certain range, you can tell them like they are underweight or they're overweight. So yeah, you can give that a try in your own time. And yep, so that's all for this lesson. In the next lesson, we'll be talking about list and for loop. So what happens right now, just a small preview. Right now we have many, what happens if you want to have many variables? Then when you have many names, right? And it's kind of hard to keep track of it. But in Python, there's something called a list, which is a collection, it's a more, it's like, it's a collection of variables basically. Yeah, and then we can see more powerful we can start to generate more powerful behavior using things like loops. If you want to repeat a certain line of code multiple times. Okay. So if not, yeah, that's all for today. Yeah. Can.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Thank you too. Yeah, no problem. Bye bye.
Bye.